ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। स्वतन्त्रा सर्वतन्त्रेषि दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपिणी सनकादिसमाराध्या शिवज्ञानप्रदायिनी अखण्डमण्डलाकारम् व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ब्रह्मादिदेववन्द्याय सर्वलोकाश्रयाय ते दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपाय शङ्कराय नमो नमः। Let us take in Shiva Shakti in 5 deep breaths. Om Shiva Shakti Om 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 उपासकानां यदुपासनीयं उपातवासं वटशाखिमूले तद्दामदाक्षिण्यजोषा स्वमूर्त्या जागर्तु चित्ते मम बोधरूपम् अद्राक्षम् अक्षीणदयानिधानम् आचार्यमाद्यं वटमूलभागे मौनेन मन्दस्मितभूषितेन महर्षिलोकस्य तमोनुदन्तम् विद्राविकशेषतमोगलीन मुद्राविशेषेण मुहुर्मुनीनां निरस्य माया दयया विधत्ते देवो महान्तत्वमसीति बोधम् अपार कारुण्यसोधातरङ्गैः अवाङ्गपादैरवलोकयन्तम् कठोर संसार नौमि गुरुं गुरूणां ममाद्य देवो वडमूलवासी कृपा विशेषात् कृतसन्निधान ओंकार रूपाम् उपदेश्य विद्याम् आविद्यकर्धान्तम् अपाकरोतु कलाभिरिन्दोरिव कल्पिताङ्गम् मुक्त कलापैरिव बद्धमूर्तिम् आलोकयि देशिकमप्रमेयम् अनाद्य विद्यातिमिरप्रभातम् स्वदक्षजानो स्थितवामपादम् पादोदरालङ्कृत योगपट्टम् अपस्मृतेराहितपादमङ्गे प्रणौमि देवं प्रणिधानम् So we studied to understand Dakshinamurti as Saguna Brahma, which is described in Suta Samhita. From Suta Samhita period, we are coming to Shankaracharya's period, where he is describing Dakshinamurti as Saguna Brahman, and who is none other than Atma, Sat Chit Ananda Atma. So, all great seers and the learned, they give up their individual entity and merge into that supreme Even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he also says the hardship and the depth of yoga is not easy for the modern minds, which are so active, busily involved. The mind is busily involved in moving fast. So for them, it is hard. And thus, just saying the name, Namasmarana, Stotra Patana itself will be giving them the experience of what the yogis do. So with this background, let us get into the stotra on Dakshinamurti, which is created by Shankaracharya, and let us enjoy dip in Dakshinamurti from the eyes of Shankaracharya. And Shankaracharya has successfully described Dakshinamurti as the Guru and all the Jivatmas as Shishyas. So we are all Shishyas of Dakshinamurti, and we are all sitting at the feet of Dakshinamurti, and we are having that experience which Dakshinamurti is giving practically. Okay. Upasakanam yadupasaniyam. Upattavasam Vatashakhi Mule. Upasakanam Yadupasaniyam. The ideal form, which is very, very suitable for any Upasaka to do the meditation on Dakshinamurti. Yadupasaniyam. What should be meditated upon is this form, the ideal form of Dakshinamurti, who is Upattavasam Vatashakhi Mule, who is sitting at the very roots of that Vatamula, that is Vatavriksha, which is the Maya tree, illusory tree, which represents both universe as well as the individual beings. Tadhama Dakshinya Jushaswamurtya, and that form is emitting the pure consciousness, and it is giving the jnana automatically through the form. Jagartu chitte mama bodha rupam. Mama chitte, in my inner heart, in my mind, let that bodha rupa, that which is giving us the knowledge, that form, let it jagartu, let it be invoked. So the gist is, let my mind have the vision of the ideal form to be meditated upon by any upasaka, the seeker. And that form which is sitting at the roots of Vatavriksha, the banyan tree. And the form is emitting that knowledge, because the form itself is the embodiment of that Atma Jnana which he is giving. Upasakanam Yadupasaniyam, which should be meditated upon. So, what we can understand by this is, a child of 3-year-old, if its mind is totally involved in car or helicopter, all the time it is thinking of helicopter, helicopter. And on the day of its birthday, suppose the parents give a surprise gift, the cake in the form of that helicopter. Just imagine how happy the child would be, and what type of chain of thoughts will be going in the mind of that child. Like that, all of us are upasakas. We are all seeking that Atma Jnana. And for us, the seekers, if that Atma Jnana is embodied, if it is given, that Atma Jnana is given a form, and it is placed in our mind as vision, Dakshinamurti, how happy we would be feeling. So that is what this Dakshinamurti, who is sitting at the roots of Vatashakha or Vatavriksha. So here we can understand the very purpose of Dakshinamurti is imparting the Atma Jnana, and to visualize the whole scene, like he is sitting surrounded by all the rishis, Brahma Kumaras, who are none other than great sages. And he is readily emitting that Atma Jnana through the form itself, whatever he is wearing, the jewels, and the slight smile on his face, and the body, the way he is sitting, the posture, everything is giving out the information, the knowledge, and it is also invoking many more revelations about Atma-jnana. So here we can know that Atma-jnana is so important, and he is the embodiment of that. What else do we need more than this? Even Sri Rama, even though he is Vishnu, he sought Atma-jnana from sage Vasishtha. Narada Muni, he is Sarvajnani. He also went to Sanat Kumara to have that Atma-jnana. Indra, who has performed hundreds of Ashwamedha Yaga, the highest yaga one can perform, that he has performed 100 times, and yet he ran to Kashyapa Muni to learn this Atma-jnana. So now we can understand to what extent Atma-jnana is very much needed for every being. And thus we are seeking that help from Dakshinamurti, who is Saguna Brahman, and he is giving us that knowledge. His body itself, his form itself is self-explanatory. Just like we studied Sri Chakra in Saundarya Lahari and also in Lalita Sahasranama, how just having the Sri Chakra gives us so much of knowledge, and we know that Sri Chakra is live Devi Mahatripura Sundari because it is self-explanatory. In the same way, Dakshinamurti form, Vigraha means the form, body, is also self-explanatory. Upasakanam yadupasaniyam upattavasam vatashakhi mule. He is sitting at the roots of the banyan tree. What can we understand by this? When that banyan tree is representing the whole universe and also the individual, Dakshinamurti is sitting at the very source. That means he is the creator, preserver, and annihilator of this universe. So he is the very source. He is the Brahman who is sitting at the roots. So for me to exist as a human being, Dakshinamurti is sitting as the root, Atma, and this is the form which is like the banyan tree. And for the whole cosmos also, as Brahmanda, he is the source and he is the preserver. So he is in that position as Brahman at the very roots, Patashakhi Mule. And Jagattu Mama Chitte Bodharupam. Let that Bodharupa, how beautifully he has used the word Bodharupa. The Rupa itself is Bodhaka, which is giving us the knowledge. So if Shankaracharya is putting that word Bodharupam, it is taken for granted that if we are real Upasakas of Dakshinamurti, he is going to give us that Atma-jnana, beyond which there is no any other jnana. Atma jnana, Brahma jnana is the highest jnana one can attain. That is giving as his rupa itself. So see the depth of the words which Shankaracharya is describing. Adraksham akshina dayanidhanam acharyam adyam vatamula bhage. Again he is talking about Vatavriksha. Adraksham akshina. I saw with eyes. Shankaracharya is telling so confident. So practically he has seen it. Adraksham. I saw. Akshina. Through eyes. Dayanidhanam. The whole repository. Mind like. The source like. Dayanidhanam. For the compassion. He is the repository of compassion. He is the source of compassion. Isn't it? If he is the Brahman, Atma, that is what is the very nature of Atma, Brahman. So Dayanidhanam, Adraksham, Akshina. Acharyam, Adyam, and he is the primordial, the very first and foremost Guru who is sitting at the Vatamula Bhage. Maunena Mandasmita Bhushitena. Maunena, and he is keeping silence. And he is having a slight smile. Mandasmita, slight smile. He is decorated, Bhushitena. He is decorated with slight smile and Mauna, the silence. So, even to look at, it looks like he is decorated with silence and the slight smile. What a beautiful expression. Maharshi Lokasya Tamonu Dantam. Maharshi Lokasya. To the worlds of the Maharshis, which is covered with ignorance or tamas, the darkness, that is totally annihilated. Dakshinamurti, through that slight smile, through that silence, he is taking away the darkness which is covering the worlds of Maharshi. So what can we understand by this? Adraksham Akshina. Akshar, eyes. It can be taken as both physical eyes as well as the Jnana Chakshu, the inner eye, the eye of the knowledge. Through both, Shankaracharya says, I saw. So, through his Jnana Chakshu, he is able to see. Narendra, the future Vivekananda, when he was a young boy, he went and asked Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, have you seen God? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said straight, yes, I have seen God more clearly than what I am seeing you or you seeing me. More clear, I have seen God. So what does it say? If anyone asks me, I will say, yes, I can see the world so clearly. Isn't it? We are seeing the world so clearly. That means our mind is, the lay person's mind is very clear and it has expertised in projecting and seeing the world around. So I'm seeing everything so clearly. Whereas Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or Shankaracharya, they are expert in projecting Dakshinamurti, Kalima, and to the extent that the Jnana Chakshu, what it is seeing as the vision, they are able to bring it out as though it is there physically in front of them. So they are seeing through the physical eye also. Isn't it? That is what we are also doing. I am able to see the whole room. How? Because I have that expertise to project in my mind, and I am bringing it out and seeing everything as though it is outside my own body and the mind. So like that, he is Adrakshamakshina Dayanidhanam. So Dayanidhanam, also we should understand, Dakshinamurti is the very source and the storehouse of compassion. That means, what about other emotions? Even if Dakshinamurti in another incarnation is Raudra Rupa, it is only acquired temporarily. He is putting it on for the sake of saving the situation or the person. So it is a put up emotion, but by nature, he is Dayamurti, Dayanidhana. So we can understand it with very practical example. A surgeon, when he has to save the patient, he has to use the knife and he has to cut. That cutting, even though it looks so fearful, he has to do it to save the patient. So in the same way, even Dakshinamurti, his nature itself is compassion, and that he is emitting because that is all needed in this incarnation as Dakshinamurti. Acharya Madhyam, he is the very first and foremost Guru. Why? In what way? Atma is the base of the whole universe itself. The third circle, Atma. In that, the universe is there. And in that is the Jivatma as the smallest bubble. So, for me to understand that I am the Jivatma who is in this manifested world, which is existing in Atma, I have to have the Atma as the Guru. Only then I will be able to understand first of all. So, Atma as Dakshinamurti, he is there in every being and in the whole manifestation. He has pervaded the manifestation. And thus, we acknowledge that Dakshinamurti as Atma is the foremost Guru. Everything is understood by all beings just because Atma is there in them. It is that Atma which is giving that consciousness, the ray of consciousness, because of which the mind is coming into life and it is trying to grasp whatever it wants. So, in that sense, very deeply, Dakshinamurti is very much present in every being. So, Acharya Madhyam. See how slowly we are getting into that Atma Jnana almost in every verse. We are coming in touch with what that Atma is, in what all ways he is giving us that Atma Jnana. And Vatamula Bhage, as I said, without roots, a tree cannot stand. A tree cannot preserve itself. Because the roots are so strong, sturdy, and giving the nutrition to the tree, it is existing there so firmly for so long. More than 100 years, it can stay stable. That is because of the roots. In the same way, for the whole universe and the individual to sustain the life in it, it is Atma which is giving that support. So Dakshinamurti is that. Vatamula Bhage Maunena Mandasmita Bhushitena. So he's silently sitting, he's just being himself. He's emitting the smile, which is the bliss, which he is feeling, which he is experiencing within himself. So, that nature of Atma is projected out as that slight smile. So, that slight smile is giving the knowledge through the embodiment of Dakshinamurti. And thus, Maharshi Lokasya Tamonudantam, the darkness, ignorance of Maharshi Loka, the world of Maharshi. So here also we can understand why Maharshi Loka? Why not just the universe? Why that difference is there? For we people, let me say about ourselves as lay persons, tamas, we are not even knowing that we are in the ignorance. We don't even know that we are in darkness of ignorance. So where is the question of taking away or melting away that darkness? We adjust and readjust and seek the pleasure and see the comfort with whatever we are going through. And we keep on hanging on to the samsara. So it is not even occurring to us that we are in deep darkness. So we are held here. Whereas Maharshis, they have understood what the samsara is. What is the reason for this? Samsara is dark. So with that knowledge, they want to seek the solution for that darkness and they want to take it away. So they have taken the first step. And thus, they are very much in the presence of Dakshinamurti. So I can give you the example of this. It is not very palpable, but it makes it very clear. When a frog is put in the boiling water, In the beginning, it feels, it is warm, it is so beautiful, it is so comfortable, I'm enjoying. And the heat is made more and more and more. That warmness is heated up. Still, it is enjoying itself, and it doesn't even know that it is, the temperature is going higher and higher and higher. And when it is really boiling, it doesn't have the strength in it to jump up and go out of that boiling water. So it is kept in that water and it dies in that boiling water. Whereas if that frog is intelligent enough, with wisdom, it should keep jumping up when it starts becoming more heat. When it is not able to withstand the heat, it should be able to go out of the water. So that is what these rishis or maharshis are. They have understood. This samsara is like the boiling water. So they want to jump up. So they are again and again jumping up, and they are calling out to Dakshinamurti to help. And thus their loka, their world is of different level because they have understood what it is. And thus they are running and sitting at the feet of Dakshinamurti. Even in Tulsidas Hanuman Chalisa, it says, Buddhihina Tanu Janike. Knowing that Buddhihina, I am that Buddhihina, without the wisdom. Janike, knowing. He goes further. In the same way, the very first step is that we should know, we should recognize, realize that I am tied up in this darkness of ignorance. I want to come out of it. That should be there. That doesn't mean that I can go to another frog, please help me, I am getting boiled. Because even that is also getting boiled. So there's no point in going to the other frog. So in the same way, all the maharshis are getting together and going to Dakshinamurti, who can lift them up and make the darkness of their loka totally melting away. So they are at the feet of Dakshinamurti, all the Maharshis. So see the words he is using. If the Maharshis have to go and sit at the feet of Dakshinamurti, what about we all? We have to follow their footsteps, which we are trying to do now. Vidravita Shesha Tamoganena Mudra Visheshena Muhurmunina. So when they are all coming and sitting at the feet of Dakshinamurti, by holding that Vishesha Mudra, that is Jnana Mudra, Muhu, instantaneously, at once, those sages, Tamogana, the heap, the mass of darkness of ignorance, he is taking it away, avishesha, without leaving even the residue. He's taking away the whole tamas, the darkness of ignorance from those munis. Vidravita shesha, without leaving even a little bit of darkness. Tamoganena, mudra visheshena, by that vishesha mudra, which is jnana mudra, muhur munina, at once those munis, nirasya mayam dayaya vidhatte. Nirasya mayam, and with compassion, he is taking away the effect of that maya in those muni who are all sitting at his feet. He's taking away that maya, that too with compassion. How? Through that mudra. Devo maham tattvamasiti bodham. By giving them the knowledge that tat, that Brahman is you. You are that Brahman. That jnana he is giving through the hand gesture. So here, this jnana mudra is telling about both Saguna Brahma as Ishvara is also conditioned by Maya, but he is not affected by it. Whereas this Jivatma is conditioned by avidya, the ignorance, by which he is very much influenced and he is victimized. So when he is with the other three bodies together, he is bound to go through that. But once he comes away from that and become one with this, there is continuous flow of consciousness and the pure energy continuously. And thus, there is no difference in the essence of both of them, Ishvara and Jivatma, because of the presence of pure consciousness and pure energy as one Akhanda Mandala. So, when the Maharshis are having the knowledge of this Jnana Mudra, naturally they are out of that ignorance, Tamo Gana. The mass of ignorance is gone. So they have taken out the insulation. The insulation of avidya is taken out because he is giving the support and join. So it is going as one Akhanda Mandala of pure consciousness, pure energy, which is circulating. And thus they get that I am not the individual. I am not the individual anymore. I have become whole. Whole means everything. Sarva. So again, Nirasya mayam dayaya vidhatte devo maham tattvamasiti bodham. So just this hasta is giving them the clear knowledge what the Jivatma is, what Ishvara is, and they understand both are conditioned. So all the more their understanding is going much deeper to know that it is only the pure consciousness which matters, and that pure consciousness is Atma, which is only one. Apara karunya sudhatarangaihi apanga patairavalokayantam kathora samsara nidaghataptan muninaham naumi gurum guruna. So here apara karunya sudhatarangaihi. Sudhataranga. Taranga means the waves. The waves of elixir, that is the celestial nectar, the elixir, Amrita, which is like the medicine potion or tonic, which will give the knowledge and also it rejuvenates the life of these Muni who are tapt in the samsara. That means with apara karunya sudhatarangaihi, the compassionate, which is unlimited, apara, unlimited, intense compassion, waves of elixir, which is coming through the side glance on all these munis who are seeking refuge at his feet. What can we understand with this? Apara karunya. This karuna, compassion, has so many different facets. It is not just one type of karuna. Karuna can be anukaruna, anubhuti, sahanubhuti. That means when a situation is there, a person is there, when they are not able to change, with compassion on them, they also follow the same route. While going with them, go with them, flow with them, they try to tell them what they are doing is wrong or what they are going through is not needed. The right way is to go the other way. So they go with them, anukarana, and then they make them turn around. That is compassion. They won't sit on the throne and say, no, that is not the way. You have to do it the way I'm telling. They won't do it. Anukarana. That quality will be there in Ishvara as well as in Guru. Anubhuti, that is empathy. Sahanubhuti, sympathy. They will have that also. Karuna, which is apara. And because of that, what is it? Apanga patairavalokayantam. And he is casting that eyes with the glance which is filled with that elixir, just the eye contact with them. The two not directly, they don't have to see. Just when I am here looking straight, still I can see something at the side. That itself is enough. It is making them rejuvenate and get out of that ignorance. Not only that, Kathora Samsara Nidaga Taptan Munin. All these munis, the sages, they are highly burnt in Nidagha, the summer kind of superheat. They are burnt and boiled in that heat of the samsara. So these munis who have come to him are really burnt and have realized the world is only increasing that heat for every janma, for every situation in life. So they are going to Dakshinamurti, and through the side glance, he is bestowing them the waves of the Amrita, Sudha. Aham Naumi Gurum Gurunam. I bow down to Shankaracharya is saying, I bow down to that Guru of all the Gurus who has taken out the difficulties of being burnt and boiled in the supreme heat of the samsara. So what is that Gurum Guru now? In Sutta Samhita we saw that Ishwareshwara. the Lord of Lords. Here, Shankaracharya is saying Gurum Gurunam. So, what is that greatness? Ishwareshwara, we studied that he has to be the Lord of Lords because Dakshinamurti is the Atma, which is the source of the whole manifestation. So even for others to become Ishvara, it is this Atma, Dakshinamurti, who is giving them that status as Ishvara. Even for Devanam Devah, for all the Devas, he is the Deva, Dakshinamurti. Why? He is that Atma. And now Gurum Gurunam, he is the Guru of all the Gurus. He is sitting as Atma in the Gurus, in all the Gurus. He is the one who is guiding them to impart the knowledge to the students, to the disciples. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So this shloka gives the clear picture of what that Dakshinamurti is. Guru Brahma, like Brahma, Guru creates a new seeker with knowledge. An ignorant disciple comes by giving him the knowledge. He has created a new seeker, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. And by monitoring, by guiding constantly, Guru, like Vishnu, he preserves the knowledge of that Atma Dhyana in the disciple, in the seeker. Maheshwara, like Maheshwara, Guru takes out all the weeds like bad thoughts, bad trends in the student. Also, the unwanted knowledge which he is trying to seek, all those things he destroys. And then Guru Sakshat Param Brahma. And Guru is that Sakshat. He is nothing but personification of that Param Brahma, the ultimate Brahman, which is Atma. So here we can see that Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are the Saguna Brahma who are helping the disciple, the seeker to come up. And as Param Brahma, the Nirguna Brahma, Atma, Dakshinamurti is helping the three Saguna Brahmas as well as the seekers to come out of the ignorance. So he is Guru Gurunam. Now me, I bow down to him. So we can understand Dakshinamurti as Atma Vidya Guru. He is giving us the capacity to become a keen observer. I have already told in Tantra Shastra, everything is personified, giving them the characteristics, they are personified. Even the abstract concepts are personified. So, as the student of Dakshinamurti, who is giving us that capacity to see the essence in everything, it is very important. We have to cultivate, develop seeing and seeking the vision of looking for the essence of everything what we come across in life. What is the essence of the situation? What is the essence of this object? What is the essence, the real essence which is hidden in this person, in this God, in that deity? So we have to go deep into what it is telling us outwardly. And as we keep growing in this path, we understand that the essence of the whole manifestation in which everything comes, the essence of each and everything and the whole manifestation is one and only one thing, which is Atma. So to experience that, we have to sharpen our alertness. We should become keen observer. So Dakshinamurti as Saguna Brahma is teaching us. Mamadya Devo Vatamula Vasi Kripa Visheshat Krita Sannidhanah Omkara Rupam Upadishya Vidyam Avidyaka Dvantam Apakarotu. Mamadya Devo Vatamula Vasi. Mamadya Devo. He is not only Guru, he is my Deva, he is my Ishvara, he is my breath. And he is sitting very much at the Mula, the roots. That means he's constantly giving me the nutrition which is needed for the body and the mind. And the Anthakarana, Mano, Buddhi, Chitta and Aham. For all, Mamadya Devo, Vatamula Vasi, he's in the roots. He's sitting at the roots. Kripa Visheshat Krita Sannidhanah. It is only because of his Kripa, Dakshinamurti's Kripa, I am at the Sannidhi, in the close proximity of Dakshinamurti. It is not my effort, but it is his Karuna, his Kripa, his compassion on me is making me, he is giving me the proximity to be at his feet. Omkara Rupam Upadishya Vidyam. Omkara Rupa Vidyam Upadishya. So, by giving the Vidya of Atma, which is in the form of Omkara, Avidyaka Dvantam, the darkness of ignorance, because of ignorance, Avidya, Apakarotu, let that darkness be taken away, melted away. So here, why this Vatamula, banyan tree? What is the greatness of banyan tree? Why not any other tree? Why in particular Vatamula? Because it has been coming constantly. The roots we understood. He is the source, he is the Brahman, he is the Atma, which is so important as roots. For this banyan tree, even in Vedas and Aitareya Upanishad, there is a reference of this Vatavriksha as very sacred and highly respected tree among all trees. Even in Ramayana and many other scriptures, there is mention of this Vatavriksha. And it is immortal, this Vriksha, because it is long standing and it is firm, which can withstand to be on the ground at many situations. So it is not an easy tree to make it fall. So it is very strong and firm. and well grounded. And also the trinities, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, and many other deities are also represented in this Vata Vriksha. So that way also it is important. It's also called Ichha Vriksha. And Buddha Deva got enlightened under this tree. So it has so much of significance. So Krupa Visheshat Krita Sannidhanaha. This understanding that because of his compassion, I am getting the chance to be very close to Dakshinamurti. It is a very deep understanding. If a seeker understands this in life itself, the great hurdle is crossed. Because Dakshinamurti is giving us the cue that whatever is happening, it's because of the Atma. And Atma is the base, foundation, support, nutrition for individuals to survive in the universe and for the universe itself to survive. So, what am I? I'm just floating in whatever that Atma has created. So that way, it is my effort, it is my desire, it is my zeal which has taken me to the feet of Dakshinamurti. If I think like that, it will not work. Because me going there is depending on many other factors, not my effort. It is Dakshinamurti's kripa, compassion should be there. So it is a very good guidance for us to faithfully follow it. That anything what happens is because of Krupa Visheshat Krita Sannidhanaha. I am close to him. So if Shankaracharya is telling this, in what way we can understand? Through his Jnana Chakshu, which he has visualized and created, and he is seeing it through his eyes also, and thus he is having that Sannidhana with Dakshinamurti, the closeness with Dakshinamurti. That is one thing. Secondly, even for a seeker to think of Dakshinamurti or Atma, the Anthakarana should have the Krupa of that Atma. So it is the Atma which prepares the Anthakarana to cleanse itself and become Nirmala, clear, so that it can reflect, it can go within and be very close to Atma. So that is also in the hands of Atma. And thus Shankaracharya is telling it so openly. Omkara Vidya. What is that Omkara Vidya? Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. These are the three words which are used to address Param Brahma. So, Om is one word. Tat, that means that. In Upanishads and Vedas, when they say Tat, that means they are referring to Brahma. Sat, which is existence, truth, that also is telling about the Brahman. Now let us see what the Om is. Omkara is. Mandukya Upanishad deals with this Omkara in detail. So to put it in short, Om is the first nada which came out as the resultant when there was vibration in Shiva, that is in the Atma. And that nada, the sound, picked up the intensity and it further gave rise to Kala, that is the ray of light. And that further intensified and gave rise to the Panchabhutas, the 5 elements. And that further intensified and solidified as this universe. So if we look at it, Om is the very source of the whole manifestation. So Om is not just the sound which we hear or which we think or which we meditate upon. It is not just the sound. Om is that supreme power, the supreme power which is creating and preserving and annihilating the whole universe. So that power is called Om. The sound which we are connecting it to is only one aspect of what that Om is. So Om is not just the sound. So for that, I came up with one figure, which you all can see it here. Here, Om, it starts from silence and it picks up and creates the universe and preserves it, and slowly it goes back to, merges back to silence. So that silence is leading towards emergence of Srishti as A, U, Ma, and it ends in silence. So A, U, Ma together is called Om. Om. So the silence emerged as sound. A, U, Ma represents Srishti, Sthiti, and Laya. In the same way, from eternity, when we take the time factor, from eternity came past, present, future, and again it merges into eternity. In the same way, Atma emerged as facets of Vaishvanara, Taijasa, Prajna, and merged into Atma again. And then Turiya for the individual. Turiya emerges as Jagat, which he experiences as Jagrit, and then he goes into Swapna, Sushupti, again merged into Turiya. And from Brahma, the Virat emerged and Hiranyagarbha is preserved, and then Ishvara and merges back into Brahma. So like this, Om is telling us so many aspects of what this manifestation is. Not only that, even in our life also, we can see so much of correlation between what it says. As a child, Just the milk is enough. As we grow, we need so many different varieties. And as we come towards the end of our physical life, again we hang on to just a milk or a fruit, and then we go back. Even the letter Om has given rise to so many other letters, and which we study all these things and then come back to the realization that everything is leading me towards only one thing. Om. It gives rise to Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, everything. We study all the 1,000 and then we come to the understanding, yes, all these 1,000 names are nothing but Om. How did all these names come into existence? Because of Om. So if you see, there is one straight line going. That is the straight path, which is Atma, which is giving base to all other experiences which we go through in the life. So what we can understand is Atma Jnana. When this is the Atma which is giving the support as the root, if we hang on to this, we will not be going through the churning of all these lines or the experiences. But we will be knowing that these things are there as experience if we hang on to this middle line, which is Atma. But what do we do? The minute we see different lines, we try to go there and we get stuck. We don't know how to come back to this line, or we have to take longer time and then come back and join the Om. Instead, Dakshinamurti gives us the knowledge that go straight. While going this itself, you will be experiencing, but only as experience. You will not become those. You will be strong here, yet you will know and experience the whole world, and you can pass comfortably. You will not get stuck anywhere. So that is how I have understood the Omkara. Kalabhirindoriva kalpitangam mukta kalapairiva baddhamurtim. Dakshinamurti is Guru who is sitting at the roots of Vatavriksha. He being that Atma, the pure consciousness. Kalabhirindoriva kalpitangam. His body has become bright. It is emitting the white rays of consciousness, which is not harsh or which is not too bright like the sun. Koti Surya Samaprabha. That is also used to describe, praise the deities. Here, Dakshinamurti is so different because he is the Guru of Atma Vidya. He has become that Atma totally to give the practical knowledge. Just like we have in fine arts also, we have theory and practical. Even in science, we have theory and practical. So even in spirituality also, we have theory and practical. Look at this. Dakshinamurti is giving the practical knowledge. How? By maintaining the mauna, because there is no need for him to talk anything. He is practically giving that knowledge. Manda Smita, that Smita is telling about how, what is the nature of that Atma which is emitting. Here, Kalabhirindoriva kalpitangam, his body is emitting the smooth, soft pleasant light like the moonlight. Moonlight is bright, but it is not too harsh like Surya Prabha. It's not like that. It is very soothing. Mukta Kalapairiva Baddhamurti. And the whole body looks like decorated with the pearls. Mukta. Mukta Kalapa means like jewels in pattern. It looks like it is decorated with pearls. Again, it is not the diamond, Vajra. No. Dakshinamurti is emitting the soft light, which is so pleasant, like the moonlight. And even the arrangement of that rays of consciousness which he is emitting looks like he is decorated with pearls. Mukta Kalapairiva Baddha Murti. Murti means his whole body. Alokaye Deshikam Aprameyam. Alokaye, I saw. How many times he is telling? Alokaye, I saw, I saw. Deshikam. Deshikam means one who is firm in helping the seeker, the student, to get over that ignorance and get the knowledge of Atma Jnana. He is Deshikam. Aprameyam, and he is incomparable. He is so pure and great, and he is giving the practical knowledge. How can he be compared with any other form? Anadya Vidya Timira Prabhatam. And for that Anadya Vidya, Anadya Vidya means Anadi Avidya. That ignorance is also eternal like Vidya. As long as there is Avidya, because of the birth of Avidya, there can be the universe. There can never be universe without the Avidya. Avidya is there, because of which the universe is projected. So, Anadya Vidya, for that eternal Avidya, ignorance, this Dakshinamurti is like Prabhata, the morning young suns, the rays which are really soft, yet it takes out the Timira. So Dakshinamurti is not giving any intense course the way we do other courses, intense course, intense they do hold so many seminars and other things from morning till evening, continuous. It is not intense like that. But Dakshinamurti is taking care of, taking away that Timira, that darkness of ignorance, through giving the light of knowledge softly, continuously. So, because of this pleasant, soft compassion which Dakshinamurti is emitting as his nature, he is imparting the knowledge in such a smooth, pleasant way that even the seekers, the sages, are also receiving it so smoothly, so happily, so enjoyably. So the whole transaction of Atma Vidya is going on very smoothly, enjoyably, and pleasantly. So no punishment, no reward. Straight. The transaction is happening between Dakshinamurti and the students. How I wish if all of us teachers can have the same kind of pleasantness. This humanly emotions come into picture and we lose that softness or pleasantness, and we are not able to keep it up all the time. But we should learn it from Dakshinamurti if we are teachers. Swadaksha Janu Sthita Vama Padam Padodaralankrita Yoga Pattam Apasmrite Rahita Padamange Pranavmi Devam Pranidhanavantam. So, Swadaksha Janu Sthita Vama Padam. He is keeping the left folded leg on the right leg, which is dangling down. And Padodaralankrita Yoga Pattam. He is wearing the Yoga Patta, the band of that yoga. What is that band? Padodara means the snake. See the word he has used. Udara is the stomach. For snake, Udara is the pada, foot, because it moves on the tummy, the stomach. So Padodaralankrita. It looks like Dakshinamurti is decorated with Padodara, that snake, as the Yoga Patta. So one meaning is he is tying it around him to have the support. And in the first one, he's comfortably sitting by folding one leg, left leg on the right leg. So he is comfortable. In the second line, Padodaralankrita Yoga Pattam, he is disciplined also. He is not too much comfort oriented, but he is disciplined like a yogi, and he is wearing that Yoga Patta. Another meaning is when he is in that state, Patta, state of yoga with Atma. That means Dakshinamurti is very much in yoga with his own self, Atma. And this Padodara snake is the representation of Jivatmas. That is also in yoga with Shiva, being on him. In yoga with Dakshinamurti. That means Dakshinamurti, Atma, and this snake. All the three are in unison. They are in yoga. They are together. They are one. There is no difference. They are all the three are in one. It means what? Jivatma and the Saguna Brahma and the Nirguna Brahma as Atma. All the three are one because they are all in that Yoga Patta, in that state of yoga. How beautiful it is. And what is happening because of this yoga? Apasmrute Rahita Padamange. And Dakshinamurti is subduing, pinning down under his foot the apasmara, that demon of ignorance. So that is also under the control. And he's standing on that. Pranavmi Devam. And I bow down to that Deva, Dakshinamurti, who is Pranidhanavanta, who is absorbed, who is totally into dhyana, who is in samadhi sthiti. So again, it is a practical knowledge which he is giving us. We have to contemplate on this and meditate on this, only then it makes sense. Only then it will have the effect on our seeking, and we will be able to go more within. And here, Apasmara Diman is avidya and ajnana. He is put down, he is subdued. So indirectly it is telling us, when we Jivatmas are having the vasanas, unfulfilled, strongly etched desires, when they are frozen in avidya, in ignorance, the mold you get is this whole universe. So when those vasanas are very much frozen in that ignorance, and this prapancha is also making us get frozen in that enjoyment of this universe, there is no way we can come out of that frozen mold. The only way is to heat up that frozen mold with Atmajnana. When we heat it, tapas, tapana, with that Atmajnana, the world, prapancha, melts down, and what is left is the pure consciousness, which was molded because of avidya. So, Pranomi Devam Pranidhanavantam is also pointing towards that. And Apasmrute Rahita Padamange, it is subdued, it is molded, it is frozen in avidya. But when Dakshinamurti is holding it, pinning it down, that avidya, naturally the munis, the seekers, we all, if we are able to get that knowledge what he is giving us as Atma Vidya, we can certainly melt down the prapancha which is holding us and making us go through the cycle of birth and death for unknown period that can be avoided. So this Pranidhanavanta, it really attracts my mind so much. When it is practical knowledge, in what way we can understand? If he is deeply absorbed in samadhi sthiti of dhyana, when sages are coming and sitting at his feet, automatically they are also imbibing that Atma Dhyana on its own. Many years back, Sri Ravi Shankar had come to Toronto, and because I had not seen him at all, I wanted to see him. So when I went to that Satsanga, there were about 400 to 500 people in that huge hall. And there were children of 5-6 months old to very, very elderly old people also. So the audience were of normal lay persons of all ages. And I remember Sri Ravi Shankar said in the middle of his lecture, because there was so pin drop silence, the whole hall, no one could say that there are about 400, 500 people. But pin drop silence. How did the child understand? How could the old people also sit without moving around or pin drop silence? And he had to say, I cannot bear this silence. Please smile, laugh. And then we could hear the waves of laughter coming from all directions. So, what happens? What is it? Even when children are talkative adults, they're all talking, talking, talking. When they enter the temple or a performance or a lecture, automatically they become silent. How? Why? No one is telling them, but they are becoming silent the minute they enter. Why? It is the transaction of the jnana happens not necessarily through the words or through the actions. The jnana is imparted practically without verbal communication or through any other modes. The jnana is there. Only thing is, it has to be invoked. That happens when there are great sages, great gurus, Dakshinamurti, automatically it happens. So that kind of transaction is happening between Dakshinamurti and these sages. So we will start with this. Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti Om. 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 Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti Om.